Well, good evening there, fellow whiskey lovers, and welcome to another whiskey review. Sorry it has been a bit of a while since our last review, but I've been busy with some things, and unfortunately life gets in the way from doing what we love doing sometimes. But I'm right back on it today with something that's a little bit off of the norm for me for two reasons, really. Today's review: Benjamin Prichard's Double Chocolate Bourbon. And the reason I'd say it's a little bit off of the norm for me is, number one, it's here in the States, smack dab in the middle of the summer, and I'm kind of in that rum feel right now for obvious reasons. So I'm actually flipping the switch and going to a very dark, rich, robust, sweet spirit. More of a Christmas or middle of the winter type of drink. But I've been intrigued by this for a long time and saw it at a store here and picked it up, and so I'm reviewing it for you today. Another reason I say it's a little bit different, a little bit unusual for me to be reviewing this is it's a flavored spirit. We've had this conversation before. Flavored spirits aren't something I'm naturally drawn towards at this point in the game, at least. Now, as a beginner, that's something that people are gravitating towards. If you're mixing it with something, obviously it's a really nice fit, really easy way to break into a category of spirit. But for me, I like to think of myself at least as a purist, and it's just hard to judge, I think, the true nature of a whiskey when you're imparting other flavors. I'll get to the reason why I wanted to do that, though, with this one. And the last thing is they're what I call, Prichard's is what I call a general distiller. What I mean by that is these guys don't make whiskey and whiskey exclusively. Matter of fact, they came on the scene in the late 90s, 1997, I believe, with rum. And now they're based out of a little small town in Tennessee called Kelso, Tennessee. Not synonymous with rum productions by any means, but they started making rum. They have a couple liqueurs, like a fireball type of cinnamon spirit, and they have several different types of whiskeys. They have a rye, they have a lightning, like a moonshine type spirit. They have a single malt, they have a double barrel, they have a whole wide variety of whiskeys. This one I thought was interesting, so I'm going to give it a shot today, and as I always say, I try not to taste anything before I review it with you guys, and I'm staying true to that here this evening. As we always do, let's review packaging. So it's a pretty nice presentation. I really like how they kind of put this little ribbon with a little sticker here to kind of hold that shut, give it a nice little touch. Other than that, I'd say pretty standard. Little story about how it was produced. They call this a straight bourbon whiskey with natural flavors, and that's, if you're going to flavor something, the fact that it is natural is nice. Produced and hand bottled by Prichard's Distillery Incorporated in Kelso, Tennessee. Now, it's called Benjamin Prichard's, and I'm actually not sure where that name came from, because I know the gentleman that started the distillery is named Phil Prichard. And he started the distillery, like I said, in 1997, I believe. And he was actually a dental hygienist or a dental assistant for 30 years. And he just started experimenting in he and his wife's kitchen and came up with his rum. And then one thing led to another. And he's now shipping all over the world, I think 40-some nations. And while I'm on that subject, thank you very much to my international viewers. I have gotten some correspondence and some comments on some of my videos from you. So tip of the cap to me, and I'm so glad you're enjoying these videos from all across the world. That's really cool. All right, let's jump right into this. As we always do, I want to start reviewing the color. And I'm expecting, obviously, a darker than normal spirit because of the addition of chocolate. Now, the chocolate that they add is not a milk chocolate Hershey's candy bar type of chocolate. It's more of a bittersweet, like a cooking chocolate, which that was one of the things that attracted me. I didn't want some sort of, chocolate milk, Godiva liqueur concoction that's basically intended to go into a martini. I wanted something that was more, kind of that bitter, sit in the back of your throat, almost like a coffee note chocolate. And that's what I'm hoping to get out of this. So we will soon see, as long as I can get this seal off here. Sorry about that. Well, that's what happens when you do these things live. You have to figure out how to open it and talk at the same time, which is sometimes a little more challenging than I would have liked. So I tell you what, it's a kind of an interesting. It's a little different with their how they seal this, as you can obviously see. But they do a really good job of it. Underneath this this foil topping, it's like a rubberized foil. Underneath this foil topping, it looks like just a standard plastic cap. Yep, with a rubber cork. For what it's worth, let's pour a dram. There's your color. Get out the light for you a little bit there. There you go. So not as dark as I would suspect. It actually looks very pedestrian, very whiskey. Doesn't look like it's something that's gonna knock my socks off with a dark or a bittersweet chocolate flavor. But oftentimes the looks can be deceptive. On the nose. Now that's surprising. Now, I'm almost thinking it's placebo effect. I think if you didn't tell me this was a double chocolate, I don't know if I'd smell it in there. I truly wouldn't, which I find really interesting, especially because they went to the extent to call it a double chocolate. Yeah, I mean, I'm smelling very floral, hoppy, barley, just granular. It almost has an Irish influence on the nose, which is completely in the whole different direction of what I was expecting on this. I expected a real deep caramel, molasses, almost rum, oaky, chocolate overtone. It smells light. I'm really interested to see what this tastes like, because if it tastes like it smells, it's going to be more of like a Tullamore Dew or a Powers or a light Irish whiskey. And I know that makes no sense, but that's what I love about doing this, is I'm going right off the cuff here. All right, I can't wait anymore. Let's give this a shot. Oh, let's talk about the legs real quick. I'd say average legs. All right, done. Let's jump into this. As I always say, I do a little bit of research. The little bit of research I did was straight off their website. They describe the chocolate, excuse me, as being a mellow chocolate, not a sweet chocolate. And I would take it one step further and say it's not only is it mellow, I would say, like I said, it's more of a bitter chocolate. I get it on the lips, which is usually not a part of my mouth that I pick up a lot. But in this one, as soon as I got it to my lips, I was hit with that sweetness. It's very light on the finish. I'm not getting coated. I'm not getting a buttery feel, which I actually had anticipated. It's clean. It's light. It's, again, not quite what I expected at all. Let's see if it changes a bit here over the minute or two we review this. Because oftentimes, with a bottle like this, the air will actually bring out some of these flavors that are kind of deep in the bottle or deep in your glass. But this is interesting. Not at all what I expected. Let's give this another shot. Guys, I always try to keep it real with you. I get it on the lips a little bit. That second time, I even got it less though. All right, so for the price point that I picked this bottle up, which was $58 US. Sorry, Mr. Prichard. All due respect, I'm disappointed. It's light. It's not notable. It's not substantial. It's not rich. It's not aggressive. It's not something that I'm looking for in a bourbon, and I think most bourbon drinkers are looking for in a bourbon. It's not unpleasant. Honest to God, guys, if you put this in a Jameson bottle or whatever, you could convince me it's Jameson. Maybe like a plain Jameson Black or whatever these blacks are now. One more time. I'll maybe also give you the very front of the tongue. That's what's so cool about tasting the front of the tongue. You're going to get different things than you are on the back of the tongue. But no. Double chocolate, bourbon,